I will say that if you haven't had a chance to see or hear Brendan with the new Thunder Horse Explorer, it sounds so nice. It's a really, really nice guitar if you're into guitars. If you do want one, grab them quick. They're almost all sold out everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. A friend of mine, Raiku, I think got the last one that Sam Ash had.
Yeah.
The Guitar Center might have a few musicians' friends.
How much do they cost? Like 4,000?
1,600.
Oh.
That's cheaper than I was
They're
expecting.
affordable.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's a good time today to play this song.
Yes.
touring? I mean, is it like just, even if it's for a cartoon band, is it still the same as like touring with a regular?
It's just like touring
Just
with
like-
a regular band when it comes to the touring. I mean, you're on a bus.
So you're doing, yeah, you're doing the same
Yeah.
thing.
Same routine.
Well, the funny thing was, I mean, on the last tour, we were co-headlining with Mastodon. So there was like the hired guns playing a cartoon metal band, you know. And then you had like the honest to goodness, dirty, scruffy, same guys in the same band for 12 years, you know,
Yeah.
metal band together. And like, you know, Mastodon is just like, you know, every stereotype of a rock band is true. They drink like crazy. Two of them have serious drinking problems. And they party every night. And even before they go on, their dressing room is just like, there's 20 people in there. Everyone's like, ah! And they go on. You know, one of them like, you know, gets in fights with the tech on stage. You know, just, you know, one of them's always puking in the bunk. I mean, it just, and listen, this is it. I'm not you know, I love those guys. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to tell tales out of school here. They're just a real, and that was the thing, is that like the first time we hung out with them, like, holy shit, these guys are a real serious rock and roll band. And everything that goes along with it. And they're amazing. I mean, like, I don't know if you have the last record, Crack the Sky. such a great record. Such a great record. And we got to watch them play it every night. We're all Mastodon fans. Everyone in the band. So we're all just like, what? Like, we watched that show several times. So it was super fun. And, you know, meanwhile, they've been touring for years and years and years and years. You know, this is just like, that's how they make their living. You know, they're on the road for like 8 months a year or something. I couldn't even imagine. So then there's us, who's like, you know, Gene's on the road all the time. I'm not on the road that much in a bus. I do some, like, you know, some smaller scale stuff. And Keneally too, you know, he goes kind of back and forth. But it's the same thing. You're on a bus, you wake up, you're at the venue. And you wake up and you're like, okay, well, you open up your computer, there's internet on the bus. You know, it's semi-high speed internet, depending on how many people are using it. So you get up, maybe you have breakfast on the bus, maybe you go into the venue, maybe catering is up, you know, and then you go and eat whatever they're serving. You know, there's a crew there. If it's 4 bands, there's, you know, 4 crews. You know, you've got an entourage of like 70 people or something like that, you know, going from city to city between the merch people and the production people and the bands and their crew. And you know, you say hi, and I mean, everybody's got their own routine, and you find out what it is real fast when you're on a bus with people. You know, Brendan and I actually have a very similar routine. We both like to work out when we're on the road. We're looking for a gym or a place to run. So we'll get up, we'll like get on computers and do business, answer emails, you know, and then we'll hopefully find a gym that we can go to, and then do that, or just run locally. You know, then that's like 3-4 hours, because usually we'd get up at like 11 or 11:30, and then sound check is like 3 or 4, and then we'd sound check, and then, you know, you've got 3 or 4 hours to kill before you even go on. So now you've got, you know, more time to either usually take a nap a lot of times in the afternoon, or we go find something to eat. And then like before the show, everybody would kind of like, you know, isolate a little bit. Like, I like to just, again, I kind of like to be with my computer. Makes me feel like I'm at home when I'm, because I used to have an office job. I was a hardcore business traveler, so like whenever I have my laptop, I always feel like that's where my home is. It's a strange thing to describe. And Brendan would usually hang out on the bus and watch movies or TV, or like, you know, some like really horrible movie. He loves really bad movies, or like, you know, some video or something like that. Him and Keneally would sometimes do that, or Keneally would just go in his bunk and just lay down and listen to music. He listens to music all the time. Gene would always take a nap before the show. Always. You knew where he was 2 hours before the show. He was in his bunk, and he's either, you know, on his phone, texting people, or sleeping. And then an hour, 45 minutes before the show, we all get together in the dressing room, and you put on your clothes, you know, you put on your black clothes, and then you know, you warm up a little bit, and then, you know, we see Mastodon coming off, and they're all sweaty and greasy, and you know, they're getting ready to drink, you know, and we're just going on. So then we go on, and then we come off, and then of course Mastodon and the other 2 bands generally, you know, if their drinkers converge, wasn't much of a drinking band. High on Fire, they drank. Mastodon made me drunk already, and then we'd start drinking as fast as we could, because, you know, now it's like 10 or 11 o'clock, and the bus is probably going to leave at 2. So we've got 3 hours we got to shower, you know, or just wash up a little bit after the show, because we're all nasty, and then we would just start partying. And then I was the one who would make the drinks. We had I'd make vodka and orange juice and cranberry juice. Call it Death Punch.
Yes.
And it was really, I didn't name it that. Someone named it that, but I mean, like, it's actually just a Madras. It's vodka, orange, and cranberry juice is called Madras, and I make them really strong. And there's a way to make them so that they are strong, but they don't taste strong. I won't spoil the secret. But I would start making them as fast as I could, and then, you know, we have our friends back where city we were in, and then we'd start drinking, and usually we would get pretty drunk. And, you know, not Mastodon drunk, but we were.
Well, they had head start.
They're much more experienced than we are. But no, and we would, you know, not every night, but I mean, like, we would usually have at least 1 or 2 drinks a night. And then some nights we would go nuts. And then the best thing about being on the road is that you have all your liquor is supplied. It just shows up after the show. You're just like, Yeah, and pizza usually, but you gotta be careful. You can't eat pizza every night after the show. You'll end up getting fat. So we would, every night, we'd be like, you know, vodka, orange juice, plastic cups, ice. You know, if there wasn't ice, get us some more ice. And someone would come in with a bag of ice. You know, it's like
That's
great. Yeah. And then we've got 2 hours and 3 hours or whatever. And sometimes if it's a short drive, we would push bus call back, you know, to 3 in the morning or whatever. Sometimes we'd even go out. We'd like start drinking on the bus, and then we would go around the corner to a bar. You know, and then that would be really fun. And then when it's all over, you don't have to go anywhere. You just get on a bus, and someone's driving you, and it's air conditioned, and there's like, you know, audio, video entertainment, and you just stay up or keep drinking or then eat pizza until you're just like, that's it, I've got to pass out. And then you just go into this bunk that's actually very comfortable. We only had like 6 people on the bus, or 7 people on the bus, and what that means is that the sleeping compartments are like, they can either be 3 high or 2 high. It's the same space, so it can either be divided in 2 or divided by 3. If you've got a full entourage on the bus, it can sleep 12, because there's front left, front right, back left, back right. So you can get 12 people sleeping on a bus. But if you only have 8 people or less, or 7 people or less usually, because you need 1 bunk to put junk in, then you can have what's called condo bunks, which is dividing the space by 2. And when you have condo bunks, man, it's awesome. It's just like, you can sit up in your bunk, and it's very comfortable, and you haven't slept until you've been drunk, and on a bus, with these blinds closed, you know, so it's totally pitch black in there, and air conditioning blasting, and the rumble of the road, and it's going. Best sleep I ever get in my life. I'm not kidding. As a matter of fact, now when I go home, my poor wife, we have an air purifier which I essentially use as a noisemaker. So it goes, and then she made this, like, we live in an apartment, it's a cheap place, you know. She made this for our anniversary. She made a curtain system that actually blacked out the window. So it's like a hotel. It stays dark. And then I put earplugs in, because whenever you're on the bus, people are sometimes partying in the front compartment, so you gotta wear earplugs if you want to go to sleep. And then you wake up, and then you're at the venue, and it starts all over again. You wake up and you're like, ugh. You know, and it's 11:30, usually because you went to bed at 4 and you were drunk. I wasn't like that every night. We didn't drink every night. This was more, I drank more than the other guys, actually. I think I was probably a heavier drinker. But I mean, I do a lot of stuff that's not like that. I do a lot of traveling in the car, you know, tours that are low budget and hard work, and so that when I'm on a bus and that it is actually, like, you know, a high budget production, I really appreciate it. And I try and, like, you know, take advantage of it, because it's just not always like that, you know? People get the idea that you're on this bus and it's just like, oh my God, your life must be amazing. Well, yeah, for these 6 weeks.
Now the other 50 weeks.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not complaining. I love what I do. And I love this gig. I mean, it's just the most fun gig I've ever had. But you know, anytime there's a gig this big, where there's